little bit of a blast from the past, at least for Todd and I. I don't know how much it is for Zach, but we are reviewing the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, Mutant Mayhem. Just was released in theaters this weekend. I didn't see the box office numbers. How did it do?
It looked like it was like tied with Oppenheimer, I think is what I saw.
It's not
Third,
horrible.
yeah. So yeah, Barbie with 53 million, Meg 2 30 million, Oppenheimer and Mutant Mayhem 28.
But beat by Meg 2. That's sad.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, Todd, you're starting us off talking about the Ninja Turtles. Tell us what this one's about, what you thought.
Okay, this is directed by Jeff Rowe, who I believe was like the co-director on Mitchell's vs. the Machines. It's his first movie that he's directed by himself. This is it picks up our turtles that we have come to know and love. The Ninja Turtles have been stuck in a sewer basically their whole lives, and they sneak out only to perform important missions like getting groceries and such for Splinter. Splinter is in this Jackie Chan. He's their master and their father figure, and he made it very clear that the humans are evil and that they all they want to do is hurt them and milk them, whether they have nipples or not. They need to get milked. All of the turtles are voiced by unknown child actors: Nicholas Cantu, Shannon Brown Jr., Brady Noon, and Micah Abbey. As a group, their goal is basically to be accepted by humans and go to high school, which now seems like a leftover COVID idea. I think Luca had the same end goal. But one day they accidentally get into some trouble. They're out messing around, and they get into a fight to get a girl's scooter back. The girl is April O'Neil, played by Ayo Edebiri, Edebiri from The Bear, and she's a high school student who wants to be a reporter. And they all stumble upon this villain called Superfly, which is voiced by Ice Cube. And in addition to the unthinkable canceling of a prom, he wants to further mutate and rule the world with others of his like, and everyone sort of bands together to stop this monster. The movie's pretty cool. The animation style is really dizzying when you start watching it. It looks very comic booky in its imperfections and its hand drawn animation. But once your eyes can adjust to it, it looks pretty cool. It isn't as innovative as it would have been if it came out like 5 years ago or something, but it still looks legit. It's written or co-written, I guess, by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. So it has a strange sense of humor. Like, this is Seth Rogen doing a PG movie. So it's a bit of a trip, but it throws in a whole bunch of cultural references to let you know that he still has his opinions and weird quirkiness and stuff. The movie plays like a video game, which I'm getting a little tired of seeing in movies, but it's like if you mix like a really dark video game like Cyberpunk, but you put it in like a setting of Schumacher's Batman starring the aliens in Space Jam. Like that's sort of what we're looking at here. At no point do Donnie, Leo, Raph, and Mikey resemble the turtles that I've known my whole life. Ice Cube is super distracting as the main bad guy. It's like painfully obvious from the first word he says that it's Ice Cube doing Ice Cube. But the rest of the cast is pretty creative. Edebiri is clearly the star and the draw of the movie. I like how April in this is essentially like the Gyllenhaal's character in Nightcrawler. Like she's just like chasing the story, like hanging her head out of a speeding vehicle to like get the shot. There's way too much backstory. It definitely wants this to be a franchise and abandons like stretches that would have made it like a really interesting individual story. But it's hard not to like it. It should have been longer, which I guess is kind of a good thing. It loses some steam when it gets to the big action scenes, but it still looked cool. So even if it gets kind of lame, it's still fun to look at. I'm giving it like a really low 3 stars. Well, I could see this turning into something really cool in the next couple of films once they introduce characters like Casey Jones and the Shredder and whatnot that are inevitably going to be part of this.
All right. So a low 3 stars from Todd, but 3 stars nonetheless. Zach, where are you at with this one?
Well, my question is, so a low 3 stars means it's worth spending money on. Are you talking like Regal app, like 55 cents for the tax? Or like maybe, half off matinees, or like, are you saying the full $10? I mean, you got to clarify your terms.
Well, I wouldn't go see this at like a prime time weekend where you're going to spend $14 or something. But yeah, I mean, it's worth going to the theater to watch.
Okay, well, I think this movie is worth a lot of money. I would spend a good amount of money on the tickets. I love this movie. I went into it very skeptical. If you had told me, 10 years ago that Oregon would be playing Rutgers and that I'd be seeing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, I don't think I would have believed you on either count. But here's where we are, and I think this movie is really fun. Obviously, Jeff Rowe is someone who is really talented in terms of engineering these high concept animated movies that are very funny and witty, and then stylistically just unique and different. I love the way this movie kind of looks like almost an oil-based painting, almost like a kid's book. But Todd's exactly right when he says it's like an unrefined style. Like, it looks unfinished at parts, it looks scribbly at other parts, and most impressively, it's like really dark and grimy. You can't think of a lot of successfully animated movies that have that sort of really low-key look. And this movie does it in a way that is really cool and also kind of disgusting. And it's just fascinating to watch. I think the pop culture references in it were great. The needle drop for No Diggity, Dr. Dre, which was like set to the actual fight sequence that they had, was, I think, on par with anything that Spider-Man has done. I like the Ice Cube character a lot. To me, he's got this sort of like Professor X meets Killmonger, like total hatred that has ruined him because hurt people. And you understand, I think, where he's coming from. And I think I will agree that sometimes the side characters were maybe a little introduced a little too quickly with the idea of world building, but we didn't really get to know them beyond a couple of celebrity cameos. But they were fun nonetheless, too. I will disagree with Todd in that I actually thought the movie got better as it went along. I think the first 30 minutes, while certainly cool to look at, was a little bit slow in terms of, they're turtles, they don't fit in. And we still didn't really get a clear distinction about which turtle was which. I got the sense that Leo was kind of the leader and Raph was sort of like the muscle, but I'm still not entirely sure. But minor quibbles aside, I thought this movie was a blast. Now, what's a more interesting question about this movie? I did not see a lot of kids in the theater watching it. I think this movie very, very intentionally tries to do it in like Gen Z speak. I mean, so much so that they're like trying to film each other doing stunts and trying to get on YouTube. I don't know if this movie connects with young people or like people in their teens or 20s because they didn't watch Ninja Turtles. I mean, Ninja Turtles was like already kind of passé when I was a kid. So I don't know really. To me, it's sort of like, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, in the sense that it's like a generation past. So I don't know if this movie will actually find the right market, which is unfortunate because I thought it was a blast. I'm giving it 3.5 stars. To me, it's on par with Spider-Man, from which it takes obvious liberties from. But I think it also stands on its own as potentially a great opening of a franchise. But even more than that, just a good movie.
Yeah, we're thrice approved on this one. I'm somewhere in between you guys. I've got a solid 3 stars. It leaned into the teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles more than I've seen any other iteration of this. And you're right, it definitely tried to make it feel like today's teenagers, and for that I think it did a really good job. Which, I mean, you could say though that kind of alienates your nostalgic Ninja Turtles watchers that we might be, but we can still have fun with it at the same time. I think another part of this that was interesting is how many fans of Ninja Turtles are out there. I mean, to have Seth and Evan be writing this and then have Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross putting the score up for this.
The score is killer.
It is. It is way better than a Ninja Turtles movie has the right to have a score because they're the ones that did it. So I mean, it just shows how many fans there are out there and how many cameos you have. You wondered when Seth Rogen was going to pop up, but having him and John Cena be Bebop and Rocksteady, that was pretty great. Jackie Chan as Splinter, my favorite scene in the whole movie was the Splinter fight scene because I'm watching him like this is a Jackie Chan choreographed fight scene. Like they made that fight scene a Jackie Chan fight scene. Like I've seen that fight scene before in every Jackie Chan movie.
But he's basically like Yoda or something. It was like Yoda mixed with his character in Karate Kid or something.
Oh yeah. But it was the bumbling around and finding whatever you can to smash the guy's head on, and I mean it was all the stuff that you get from a Jackie Chan moment, it was perfect. It was that part was perfect. But yeah, 3 stars. I would it definitely is something worth watching. Um, I would be willing to watch it again, but I don't know. It wasn't necessarily what I thought it was going to be at the same time too. So I don't know. But it was a good watch. Now, here's the interesting thing. Zach, you're right on in that this has a lot of similarities to the Spider-Verse movies, and I mean, maybe toned down a little bit because that goes full comic book in its animation. Todd, you hate the Spider-Verse movies, and you love
I love
Let's say
the first
sequel.
one.
Oh, the sequel. Okay, you
Yeah, I hated
hated
it. Like I gave it 2.5 stars.
yeah,
But yeah.
but what's the difference for you on this movie versus Across the Spider-Verse?
I mean,
Better voice acting.
Yeah, well, there's that. Like, there's definitely that. But I don't know. I mean, and this is something that I was more drawn to the Turtles than I am to all the endless Spider-Man and all the layers and layers that they try to pile on each other in the Spider-Verse movies. I mean, like, but this actually has better reviews than the Spider-Verse movie. Just nobody's gonna go watch it because it looks kind of weird. And it's a Turtles movie. Like when I was at the theater, I think there were probably 30 people in there, and it was all like a parent and their child, and then there was me. So I don't know, and I'm not really sure what that means. Like, is it just people like us that are going to see this movie and that's it, and their kids don't really care? Probably.
Yeah,
This isn't something you're going to gather all your fourth graders or something to go watch. I wouldn't think.
Let's see. I think it's made for them, and I think they would really like it. It's just not. They don't get excited for Ninja Turtles. They get excited for Spider-Man. Maybe they did a bad job marketing this movie because,
Yeah,
it's not Spider-Man. It's not the stupid Spidey that we've seen rebooted 5 times in the last 20 years. Like, this is new. Like, the last Turtles movie was what, 2007 or something, and I didn't even watch that one.
Michael Bay almost killed this franchise. But like, that's also something that's great about this movie, is that it's proof that in these cynical times where we're remaking every Disney animated classic and trying to bring in, nostalgia, sometimes it works. And I think in this movie, it's probably principally because of Jeff Rowe and Seth Rogen and Evan. But like, also, it makes you wonder, like, what other like bottom of the barrel 80s franchise could they really bring back and make it into something good? Can anyone say Ernest? I mean, I'm ready for that. Let's bring Ernest back. Let's bring the Police Academy back. Okay. Let's bring any other, maligned 80s artifact, and let's get talented people behind it and actually have a good story like this movie did, and a cool visual look.
I think we could have a kick-ass Captain Planet movie.
Yes. Gonna bring pollution down to 0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I
there
think
was
we
another
need it more
Turtles
than ever now.
The Michael Bay Turtles movie was 2016. The one I was thinking of was TMNT, which came out in 2007. I think that was also animated.
Aren't they related?
Yeah,
Isn't that a sequel?
I don't know. Was the other one?
07 was the original.
But I don't think Megan Fox is in that one. Because Megan's April, and the TMNT was an animated movie and it was not related.
Did you guys watch the Turtles movies in the early 90s?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I vaguely remember them. Maybe we need a deep dive Secret of the Ooze. I mean,
we grew up
we'd
on
probably
those.
be the only people out there that could do it, but I don't really remember it, except it's sucking.
Yeah,
and
Todd
the costumes looking very fake.
Todd, you and I could probably deep dive any of those 3 and we'd be good.
Yeah, I've seen those movies more than I would care to admit. So,
especially the third one. I mean, nothing screams reality like watching a couple Mutant Turtles time travel back to what was it? Some era in Japan when the ninjas ruled.
You're the target audience for this movie. I mean, no wonder we all love it, right? Maybe that's every single critic on Rotten Tomatoes too.
That's one of the things, though, is the target audience is the nostalgic older people who grew up with it, but they made it for the teens that don't care.
Teens don't go to movies. Teens don't go to movies.
Well, they do. They went and saw Barbie again and Meg too.
Maybe. Yeah. Meg 2. Who would pick the Meg 2 over this movie? I have
Seriously.
serious questions about anyone that would honestly pick this over even Oppenheimer, which I didn't like. Like, you would pick the Meg 2 over Oppenheimer, Barbie, or this? Like, or Mission Impossible? Like, what's your problem?
What wasn't this last week Shark Week? Like, did they seriously put Meg 2's debut at the end of Shark Week?
Probably.
That's brilliant, by the way.
Well, I've never seen even the first Meg, so I don't
Neither
know
have I.
what that even is like, but it looks pretty trashy.
It's Jason Statham. That's really all you need to know. I haven't seen it either. Anyways, Thrice approved on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Also great needle drop for Go Ninja, Go Ninja Go. Vanilla Ice, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was beautiful too.
Yeah.
Thrice approved. 3 stars from me and Todd. 3.5 stars from Zach. Go check it out in theaters. It's worth seeing. There's a lot of good stuff in theaters right now, but check it all out. It's all there.